He's sustained open.
And he just let him have it.
He just gave him a two-hand.
Gets the Pistons off to a quick start.
He made me want to retire. Those 6 words came from Bill Laimbeer. And when Laimbeer says something like that, you stop what you are doing. You lean in. Because Bill Laimbeer is not a man who says dramatic things just to fill space. He never was. He is not the kind of person who performs for the crowd or tries to make himself the story. He is the kind of person who made crowds go quiet on purpose. He made arenas uncomfortable the second he walked onto the floor. He spent his whole career making games feel like something between a basketball match and a street fight. He was hated everywhere he went. Enemy arenas booed him from warmups to the final buzzer. Fans threw things. Other players promised revenge. And none of it made him change. He kept playing the same way, cold, physical, controlled. And when a man like that builds a list of his 8 favorite NBA players of all time, you can bet it will not look like anyone else's list. It will look like a blueprint for how to make basketball as hard as possible for everyone on the other side. Bill Laimbeer played for the Detroit Pistons during the Bad Boys era. He was the center, the anchor, the player opponents wanted to remove from the game but could never figure out how to stop. He played 685 games in a row without missing one. He finished his career with over 10,000 points and over 10,000 rebounds. He helped Detroit win back-to-back championships. And he did all of it without being the most gifted player in the building. He did it by controlling everything around him. The space, the paint, the mood of the game. He made things ugly when he needed to. He was one of the first stretch 5s in NBA history, a center who could rebound inside and shoot from the outside, draining over 200 three-pointers at a time when centers almost never left the paint. He was a chess player who made himself look like a brawler. So when Laimbeer builds a list of his 8 favorite players of all time, do not expect beauty, do not expect grace, do not expect the kind of names you would put on a poster. This list is colder than that. And it starts with a choice that still makes people argue today. Number 1 on Laimbeer's list is LeBron James. Not Michael Jordan, LeBron. Laimbeer has been very clear about this. He thinks LeBron is the best player who has ever played the game. He talks about LeBron's size, 6 feet 8 inches, between 260 and 280 pounds. He moves like a sprinter, but hits like a power forward. Laimbeer says that in the physical era of the 1980s, there was nobody built like that on the perimeter. Nobody. He also respects how LeBron thinks. In Laimbeer's view, Jordan was great, but Jordan was a scorer first, a one-man band early in his career. LeBron came into the league already focused on making his whole team better. That ability to run a whole offense while still delivering physical impact is the highest form of skill for Laimbeer. That is not a compliment to LeBron's joy. It is a compliment to LeBron's danger. Laimbeer does not want the most beautiful player. He wants the one who makes the game hardest to play against. Number 2 is Isaiah Thomas. Of course it is. Thomas ran the Bad Boys. He was the engine of everything Detroit built. He used speed, dribbling, and paint penetration to pull defenses apart. When Thomas drove inside, the defense collapsed toward him, and Laimbeer popped out to the three-point line for an open shot. It was chemistry. It was designed chaos. And Laimbeer loved it, because Thomas could take a physical, grinding team and make them look polished when it mattered most. Thomas balanced his own scoring with full control of the offense. But notice why Laimbeer loved him. Not because Isaiah was fun to watch, because Isaiah could make chaos look like a plan.
That is a cold way to love a teammate, but that is Laimbeer's way.
Number 3 is Joe Dumars. Quiet, disciplined, reliable. Dumars gave the Pistons everything they needed from a shooting guard and asked for nothing extra in return. He did not break defensive rotations. He did not chase personal stats. He stayed in the system, and he worked. Michael Jordan himself said Dumars was the toughest defender he ever faced. That carries real weight. But even this, the cleanest name on the whole list, still comes back to Laimbeer's cold thinking. He loved Dumars because Dumars made stars uncomfortable, because Dumars made the game smaller and harder and more miserable for everyone who had to play against him. Number 4 is Dennis Rodman. And this is where the list gets honest. Rodman barely scored. He was not there to make baskets. He was there to take possessions away from the other team. He studied shot trajectories and spin directions to master rebounding from the inside out.
He could guard any position on the floor. He ended second chances before they could even begin. Laimbeer did not need a player to score to love him. He needed a player who could steal something. That is the Laimbeer standard. Can you make the other team feel trapped? Can you take a chance away? Then you belong on this list. Number 5 is Larry Bird. This one is worth slowing down for. Laimbeer and Bird physically fought on the court more than once. Their teams hated each other. The Pistons and the Celtics in the late 1980s were one of the most brutal rivalries in the history of the sport. And still, Laimbeer put Bird on this list. Why? Because Bird beat people with his brain before the play even started. He read the floor before anyone else. He shot from anywhere and kept doing it even when his back was so bad he could barely walk straight. He did not push through pain to be tough. He pushed through it because he refused to let the game slip out of his hands. Not a man,
a system wearing a jersey. That is how Laimbeer saw him. Number 6 is Magic Johnson. Magic is the most joyful name on this list. And even here, the joy gets filtered through Laimbeer's way of seeing things. Magic stood 6 feet 9 inches tall. He passed over smaller defenders. He found mismatches and used them every possession. He ran the Showtime Lakers, the most entertaining offense anyone had ever seen. But Laimbeer did not love Magic because he was fun. He loved Magic because Magic changed the shape of the whole floor. Every time Magic touched the ball, defenses had to change their entire plan. That is not joy. That is power. Even the most exciting player on this list belongs here because of control and pressure, not because of highlights. Number 7 is Shaquille O'Neal. Shaq came into the NBA right as Laimbeer was finishing his career. In 1993, Laimbeer outscored a young Shaq in a late career matchup. And still, Laimbeer put him on this list because Shaq did something no other center could do. He forced teams to completely change how they built their rosters just to survive him. Teams needed extra physical big men just to absorb the contact he brought. The damage started before the ball arrived. You had to game plan for Shaq differently than for anyone else. And that kind of gravity is exactly what Laimbeer respects. The player who makes you panic before the opening tip. Number 8 is Bill Russell. And this one is the clearest proof of Laimbeer's whole thinking. Russell was not there to score. He focused on defense, on rim protection, on outlet passes, on winning, nothing else. He did not try to fill a stats sheet. He committed to doing whatever his team needed him to do. Laimbeer looks at Russell and sees the purest form of his own beliefs. Defense is the main event. Winning is the only goal. Individual scoring is almost beside the point. It is brilliant basketball.
but it is also basketball that many fans find difficult to love because it is cold. It is designed to take the game away from the other team, not to put on a show. And that is the truth about all 8 names on this list. Bill Laimbeer built something real here. He built a list of players who understood basketball as a contest of bodies, angles, and decisions. LeBron's size, Isaiah's chaos, Dumar's discipline, Rodman's relentlessness, Bird's brain, Magic's pressure, Shaq's force, Russell's commitment. Every choice connects to the same belief. Control the space, make the game uncomfortable, make your opponent change everything. You might not love this list. Many people will not. It does not celebrate players who made basketball beautiful just because they could. It has no room for flair without function. But it has everything to do with what it takes to win championships and build teams that last. Laimbeer understood winning at a level that most players never reach.
He saw the game as something to control, not as something to enjoy. And even if you hate the way he saw it, this list proves one thing. He was never wrong about what mattered most. He built 8 names that all point to the same truth. Basketball is a fight, and the very best players are the ones who fight it smartest.